Mark chapter 5. They crossed to the other side of the sea, to the region of the Gadarenes. When Jesus had stepped out of the boat, immediately a man with an unclean spirit came out of the tombs and met him. The man lived among the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with chains. Because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, but he had torn the chains apart and broken the shackles in pieces. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and bowed down before him, shouting with a loud voice, "What do you have to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I implore you by God, do not torment me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." He begged him earnestly not to send them out of the region. Now there was a large herd of pigs feeding nearby on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us to the pigs so we can enter them." So he gave them permission. Then the unclean spirits came out and went into the pigs, and the herd of about 2,000 rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the water. The herdsmen ran off and reported this in the town and in the countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons, sitting there, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it described to them what had happened to the demon-possessed man and to the pigs. Then they began to beg Jesus to leave their region. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed kept begging him to be with him. But Jesus would not let him. Instead, he told him, "Go home to your own people, and report to them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. When Jesus had crossed over again by boat to the other side, a large crowd gathered around him, and he was by the sea. One of the synagogue leaders, named Jairus, came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet, and pleaded earnestly with him, saying, "My little daughter is near death. Please come and lay your hands on her so that she can be healed and live." So Jesus went with him, and a large crowd followed and pressed around him. Now a woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years, and who had endured much under many doctors, had spent all she had and was not helped at all. On the contrary, she became worse. Having heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his clothing. For she said, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be made well." Instantly her flow of blood ceased, and she sensed in her body that she was healed of her affliction. At once Jesus realized in himself that power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing against you, and yet you say, 'Who touched me?'" But he was looking around to see who had done this. The woman, with fear and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him, and told him the whole truth. "Daughter," he said to her, "your faith has saved you. Go in peace and be healed from your affliction." While he was still speaking, people came from the synagogue leader's house, saying, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore?" But when Jesus overheard what was said, he told the synagogue leader, "Don't be afraid. Only believe." He did not let anyone accompany him except Peter, James, and John, James's brother. They came to the leader's house, and he saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead but asleep." They laughed at him, but he put them all outside. He took the child's father, mother, and those who were with him, and entered the place where the child was. Then he took the child by the hand and said to her, "Talitha koum," which is translated, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl got up and began to walk. She was 12 years old. At this they were utterly astonished. Then he ordered them strictly that no one should know about this, and he told them to give her something to eat.